Welcome to the Equities. You know where to go to commence following along with the show. CMEgroup.com/TWIFO, TWIFO, /TWIO should also work. They both get you to our reports over there at CMEgroup.com. Then in the asset class list, it is an alpha order list, so you're going to go down past ags, past crypto, Uncle Mike's beloved complex, past energy, all the way to equity indexes. Then we're going to hang out in the product family US index, E-mini. Then we're going to kick it off in the big dog, which is the S&P 500. I think we will come back to small caps in a little bit as well, because they are, like Thanos, inevitable these days. What else is inevitable is a whole heck of a lot of volume in the E-mini this week. Nearly 4 million contracts on the tape already, 3.96 million. Go figure, the mother of all relief rally is going to drive a little flow. But before I break down some of the flow, Uncle Mike, an absolutely wild week in the equities. I'm hard-pressed to think of many weeks like this where we had such an aggressive upside move out here. Obviously, as a perma bull, you must have been pretty excited. What's been catching your eye in the S&P this week?
Of course, the big news after market a couple days ago, when Tuesday afternoon, when the ceasefire was announced and Trump was claiming victory, Iran was claiming victory, and markets rallied. For the people that were just watching the cash on the day, they didn't get to see it till Wednesday, but most of the rally happened on Tuesday night. I think we were up. I don't know if we, during the cash trading day on Wednesday, I'm not sure if we exceeded the highs that we put in on Tuesday night in the after hours futures market. If we did, it wasn't by much, and I don't think we did. But I really think that just shows you the importance of having a 24-hour market available. Because if you're leveraged and you're in a short-term trade and you don't have the ability to go 24 hours, then you were in the hurt locker on Monday, or you were pleasantly in a euphoric state on Monday when you weren't expecting to be, whatever the case may be. But one of the things that I am noticing about a lot of these announcements, it seems like President Trump likes making them either on the weekend or after market, because I'm willing to bet that at the Oval Office, he probably does have some type of a real-time quote mechanism that he's looking at based on the timing of a lot of these announcements. So that's one thing. The other thing with which I think it's important to watch this week is on the cash S&P, the close of 2025 was 68.45. And right now on the cash markets, we're at 68.14. So we're roughly 0.5% away from being back to break even on the year. And it's interesting, we were actually, I'm just looking at this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days ago. 7 trading days ago on March 30th, we were almost 10% off the all-time high. And we didn't quite get to 10% off the all-time high, but March 30th, we got roughly 9.5% below the all-time high that we put in on January 28th. So roughly 2 months later, we're almost in what's referred to as a correction when we're 10% off the all-time high. And over the course of the last 7 trading days, or 10 total days, whatever way you want to look at it, we're almost back to break even on the year. And I think it just shows how crazy markets can get if you don't follow them closely enough. So in other words, if you were just looked at your account on January 1st, you looked at your account today, you're like, oh, wow, not much has happened. I'm down a little bit, but wow, what a boring year. If you've looked at the intraday markets, if you've looked at what the swings with which we've had, that has definitely not been the case. So over the course of the last week and a half, something along those lines, we have had quite the rally, with, of course, Tuesday night being the big part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Wild movements out there in the S&P this week. Does that translate into some flow? Like we said, nearly 4 million contracts on the tape. You folks love your 0-day contracts. Let's dig into those a little bit. And the contracts expiring in a little bit right after the show today. We got a whole mess of noise and out of the money puts. That's just the dance out there these days. 52 3/4 puts in the S&P? Anyone raising their hands for those? Were trading actively, as well as 57 quarter, 5,200, and 5320 puts. Well over 100,000 contracts going up in all those strikes. So wild stuff out there, expiring in a few minutes. But let's just kick that noise to the curb. 68.5 seemed like that was the area of focus for a lot of these zero-day fun out there. These were trading not so much earlier in the week for obvious reasons. We were nowhere near 68.5 level, but as Uncle Mike mentioned, that relief rally kicking in the after hours, really kicking in yesterday in the market. So we saw, again, these have traded almost 25,000 times this week, about 7,500 of that yesterday, over 16,000 today. So a lot of action on 68.5 today. Obviously looking a lot more relevant today than it was earlier in the week, hence a lot of action in those. If that's not enough for you, how about the 68.80s going up nearly 13,000 times today, about 3,600 times yesterday. So there is a lot of upside. Again, 68.80. We need to get out of bed in the last few minutes of the session here to make those relevant, but a lot of action going up in these. If you want to go out to contracts expiring tomorrow, so your traditional Friday weekly out there, we got 6,800s and 6,900s lighting it up this week. We had 12,000 6,900s expiring tomorrow, going up yesterday, but people looks like they were getting the heck out of Dodge. So they took yesterday's pop and said, you know what? That's good enough for me. I'm getting the heck out of Dodge out there. I also got about 8,000 going up today, though, so they are not done on these 6,900s. By the way, there was about 7,600 open on this strike, and about 7,800 have traded today. So looks like folks are pretty much closing out the rest of that OI. Who knows? If you're a believer in this rally, maybe you think we can threaten 6,900 by tomorrow's close, in which case, maybe you want to hang out if you're long those bad boys out there. But you know what? I mentioned them earlier. We have to go to those now. Let's go out to the land of small caps really quickly. Pop out of the S&P in product category. Go down 2 slots to the Russell 2000. Again, there's been a heavy narrative this year on rotation out of large caps, aka the S&P, into small caps. And we saw a lot of that playing out earlier this year. Small caps were up somewhere in the ballpark of 6 to maybe 7% right around the end of January. And then the bottom fell out of everything, including small caps. They went red on the year ever so briefly, and then an aggressive move over the past week. As I just said, nearly 5% just since our last show. So, of course, that's going to erase the red for the year, and now we are looking firmly at the green level again. Uncle Mike, you and I have mentioned this before. In fact, I believe you said, maybe even on this program earlier this year, that even you, the mother of all S&P bulls, was looking at a little bit of small cap action. Is that still the case? And what are your thoughts on small caps right now?
Yeah, I like them. I think that just because of the fact that both small caps and mid caps have lagged like they have over the course of the last 3 years or so, I think it does make sense from a portfolio perspective to rotate some of your stock market exposure from the S&P into the small cap and mid cap, just because of the fact that Google ain't going up forever. It's not going to make 50% every year. And it just makes sense to become more prudent and diversify along those lines. So yeah, I definitely like the small caps over the longer period. And in short term, they've obviously been knocking the cover off the ball quite a bit, especially in the same way with which the S&P has, because we are up. Yeah, we're up almost 10% off the low from March 30th on the Russell. So we're getting a lot of movement there as well. More movement in the Russell than we have in the S&P to the upside. Doesn't mean it's going to stay, of course, but definitely the small caps have become more in favor. And I think that's just a natural progression. Whenever one index lags as much as it has, it's natural. It does typically happen. Sometimes the S&P lags, sometimes international lags, sometimes small caps lag, sometimes mid caps lag, but when they lag to the extent with which they have over the last 3 years, I think it makes sense to get some more exposure into the small caps.
Let's see what kind of exposure we're seeing out there at CME this week. Is it an action-packed week? The answer is yes. Not the most explosive week we've ever seen, though, but more than a usual week, which, again, we're up nearly 5%. So you'd expect a shot in the arm out there. About 35,000 contracts on the tape this week, which again is roughly 50% more than an average week. So nothing to sneeze at out there, but not blowing the doors off either. Again, we've seen so many aggressive movements. Markets starting to get a little bit used to, even though 5% in a week is nothing to sneeze at out there. And, there is your usual activity in 0-day stuff, as there is in every equity. Right now, we're hanging out close to 26.5 in the Russell 2000, and 26 quarters expiring tomorrow are tied for the number one spot with a little bit longer term contract. Those have gone up nearly 1,000 times this week. Obviously, those are in the money options now, so not surprising. We saw a little bit of action in those earlier this week and people taking those off now. But what caught our eye was going out a little bit. We're going out to the end of April. These are the end of month April 2800. So expiring in 21 days, listeners. About 150 handles out of the money. They've gone up nearly 1,000 times this week as well. So a tie for the number one spot between these and those 26 quarters expiring tomorrow, which again, interesting there. If you're wondering what's going on in these, are folks piling into these? No, looks like they are getting the heck out of Dodge. They bailed on about half of them yesterday, and looks like they're bailing on the remaining half of them today. Doesn't appear to be any sort of vertical action. It appears to be straight up closing on the 2,800. So 2,800s with about 21 days to go, 150 handles. Then again, we have moved 5% in the past week, so who am I to look askance at anything? Maybe folks just got spooked if they're short these and said, you know what, I can't take any more upside, I'm getting the heck out of Dodge. Or maybe they've been long these, they've been choking for the last week or two out here, and now they're saying, hey, I got my move, I'm getting while the getting's good. Either way, size closing paper in the 2,100s. If you want something even farther out and maybe going to the downside, how about a June 22.5 2,100 put spread, trading a fair amount of size today for about $11.15. So a decent amount of action out there in some June puts as well.